little box that goes up on your screen. You have to click the word "Got it." That'll clear it out of the way. So again, you will get the best, smoothest experience in this class if you set up just like I'm setting up here. You have to have 3 chairs. You know, sounds like a lot, but if you set it all up, then you can just flow exercise to exercise really well. So you got one on either side with the back of the chair facing in. Ideally, it's a high enough back chair that you don't have to reach down. So it gives you the psychological support to work on your quality posture. So those 2 chairs act like guardrails and support. And then the 3rd chair is behind, so that out in front of you is this little playground, your training space. And scoot to the front edge of your chair. Hands on your thighs, chin slightly down. Feel the tippity top crown of the head. There's the description, like a string is tied to it and lightly drawing it up. I'm going to mute everybody here. Always feel free to unmute and ask questions as we go. And we always start with seated meditation, breathing in, breathing out. This is sort of the universal starting place before any practice. It helps us calibrate and orient. So very often, we are not in our bodies. We are not inhabiting, you could say, inhabiting our bodies. That's why if you look around, you'll see people sitting like this, people sitting like this, people needing to be laying back against their chair just to keep the body upright. And that's a big problem if you allow for that sort of slackening, because then it just slowly, it's like a self-fulfilling cycle that just keeps going in that direction. So something as simple as, and I've mentioned this in class, I wonder if anyone has done this as their homework, but it is your homework if you choose to accept it. Multiple times a day, especially if you start to feel dyskinesia kicking in, or your energy is low, or you just feel sort of scattered, you come to a chair, you scoot to the front edge, rest your hands on your thighs, chin down, crown up. You find what's called Zhong, or central upright. Once you've found central upright, then you remember this idea, Chun One. So Zhong, central upright. The next phase of the practice is Chun One, which is softening and releasing and melting and letting go as the means of finding stability, which again goes against our natural habit of, if we feel unstable, we tighten up and we hold on more. But if we practice softening in the face of something that's destabilizing us, we actually find more suppleness, pliability, adaptability. And also there's a grounding. So we like this idea of being grounded. I want to be grounded. How do we get grounded? Is it just a metaphor or a poetic image? No, it's a physical experience, but how do we do it? And this is the Taoist view. You have to have alignment, but then we also have to soften, release, relax, let go. Easier said than done, so we have to also have some techniques to help us with that. The breathing is one. You inhale through the nose. The body fills up and expands and opens. Exhale out the mouth. The body melts and releases and relaxes and consolidates inward. And then you inhale through the nostrils, long, smooth, and full. Feel the expansion. Maybe this time you get a little more full. You hold and hold. And feel that stretching open from your inside. And then you exhale all the way to empty, where then you hold empty. Don't inhale right away. Then you inhale again when it's time. So we'll just keep doing the breathing for a little bit. It's an incredibly simple practice. This is not rocket science. It's not computer engineering. It's just being present with what is, this physical body, the relationship of the joints and tissue, the enhancing of our natural function. So that's the yogis, that's the Taoists, that's all these sort of mystic spiritual practitioners. They really dove into enhancing the natural. As your body releases extraneous tension and activity, you are becoming more grounded, more connected to the earth. And what is left is what they call Qingling, or a state of nimbleness, lightness, agility, mobility, which that is not present when we are tense. If we just think about the extreme state of every muscle in the body is gripped and held, I'm going to have less mobility, agility, suppleness, pliability than if everything is soft. Then there's space between every joint, every tissue. So now we do our movement practices to enhance that Qingling state, or that agility state. So now slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, look up, lift the chin, arching. And then slide the hands forward and past your knees and drop the head and hollow the chest. We'll just do this 3, 4, 5 times. Don't be in a rush. Just be totally on your own rhythm. Add any little wiggling movements, little personalized adjustments that feels good. We want to enhance and improve our what they call tinging, or our listening power. We want to be listening inward to every joint, every tissue, every layer of tissue, every nerve sort of connection point. Inhaling as we arch, and we're exhaling as we round. Let's just do one more of those. And even if this was your entire homework practice, right? You did a little breathing, you did a little meditative mind work, and you just do this movement by itself, and then you go about your day, you would have helped yourself along the way. Now come back to neutral, and we add a different movement, the rotation. So left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, turn, and then we switch. Turn. And switch. Just, again, focus on the idea that now we're moving in a different plane. So your right hand goes forward, your left hand comes back, and you're turning as if there's someone behind you and you're trying to look behind yourself. Right? This is that really important one for backing out of the driveway, backing out of parking spots. So make sure your hands are doing what my hands are doing. So if I'm turning to the right, this is my left, but you're right. This hand goes all the way forward past the knee till it is straight. This one bends completely and goes behind the body. So you bring that right elbow behind you. And then you turn and look around behind. And then switch again. So just do a few more of these. And over time, as you practice this regularly, that's the key, you're just promoting the state of flow, the state of gliding, sliding, easing through the movement. Come back to middle. Hang your arms alongside you. Now we just lean sideways, laterally. As you lean to your right, lift your left wrist up, floating like it's got a little puppet string tied to it. Left foot is empty, let it float up. And then let's just switch. And we switch. And we switch again. And switch again. Continue that. A few more, side to side, leaning to the left, leaning to the right. Back to middle. Now we got to empty out our state of being top heavy. Shoulders, the shoulder blades on our back, they spread apart. When they spread apart, the shoulders go forward, the chest hollows in. That's all one movement. Then you come up with the shoulders, keep them up as you take the shoulders back and squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. And then slide the shoulder blades down the back, underneath, forward. Up, over top and back, and slide down and under. Over top and back, and just keep doing that. And then we reverse. We go back first, then up, then over top, down, under, back, up over top, down. Just cleaning out whatever's stuck, promoting the sort of juice, the sort of juice quality in the body that, you know, just think of a baby. Right? A baby is just such a juicy body, right? It just moves, everything is so, it's almost too juicy, it's kind of sloppy, right? And then we think about our bodies as they're aging, they become not so juicy, not so fluid, and that's why we're trying to promote more and more of that quality. And as we've loosened up this area, now we want to take the arms up in front. And then just drop them, let them swing. And then bring them up. Drop them, let them swing. So they actually swing a little behind. And then up. Drop. Up. Drop. Drop. And then just let them swing. Relax. Now scoot back on your chair a little bit. We're going right knee up. Right heel pulls in towards the buttock. Push away. Bring it up. Set the foot down. Other leg. Bring it up. Push away. Bring it up. Set it down. Load. Unload. Reload. Down. So non-weight bearing, but full range of motion. So completely in the bent position, completely in the straightened position, back to completely in the bent position, then set it down. So before we try putting weight on it and using it for power, we want to make sure it's at least open and capable of flow. Right? And that your brain is capable of making that command happen. Now straighten your right leg, point, flex, point, flex. We get the foot and ankle. Then we have invert, tilt, evert, tilt, tilt, tilt. Then we circle. Reverse the circle. switch, point, flex. Tilt, in, out, in, out. Circle. Reverse the circle. Then scoot forward to the front edge of your chair. Step the feet just a bit wider so you have some extra room here. The groin area, known as the quad. Lift your toes and turn toes and knees in. So you're closing the quad or the groin area. And then lift your toes open this groin area. Close, open, close, open, close, open. And then back to neutral. From the same quad, forward fold, sit vertical, lean slightly back, lean slightly back, right? And then vertical, fold, vertical, back, fold, back, and then stay vertical for a moment. About 80% of your support and groundedness is coming from the chair, a little bit from the legs, but let's do fast feet. So patter your feet. So you feel how they are, and then pause. They are not your primary connection to the ground. But now, as we keep our shoulders loose, empty, soft, relaxed upper body, fold, slide your feet back a little bit, fold from the hips, just like we did, arms, shoulders, and head in front of the ankles. Now you pour the weight out of the chair. Now 100% of your connection to the earth has to go through your legs down to the ground. And then you just push down through the ground. And again, let everything up here be loose, be light, be relaxed. Right? Because a lot of times we're looking for our stability by tightening here, and that makes us more likely to be able to fall over. Whereas the looser we are, the more we're grounded and adaptable and supple. But it's kind of an it feels like an insecure state at first until you learn you can rely on that soft, loose, relaxed quality. So same thing when sitting down. You fold at the hips, right? So the first thing that has to happen is this push of the butt back. Then, because this hip hinge operates the way it does, we just fold in half, kind of like a spring that's being sat upon. And then we're able to lean back, and we've got our fast feet again, our empty feet. And then pour your weight out of the chair. So now the feet are not empty. They're the connection to the ground. Come all the way to standing, and notice, did you grab on, as will happen often? Can you relax? Fold, sit. Stand. Eventually, standing requires very little, what they call lead or clumsy force. It's more just this soft, relaxed quality. Now, a couple of squats where you do not sit in your chair. You fold, sink, try to maybe touch your shins or your socks or your shoes or the floor, and then rise back up to standing. So this is all about flexibility, mobility, that the softer you are, the more these joints and tissues just easily glide and slide with each other. Come all the way to standing every time. So you have to be able to achieve this. One of the number one problems, David, I've mentioned it to you before, but it's really a lot of people's problem. This. We come to stand up, but we're a little too scared to go all the way that final bit, so we never quite achieve zhong zheng or vertical alignment. So then we're trying to move around our lives. Our backs get hurt. Our necks get hurt. We're working too hard, right? So try to get that vertical. Now move over to your chair on your right and face it. Fingertips touching the chair for safety. And then we just lean a little bit so that you're in the toes. Back to the middle, and then lean a little bit so you're in your heels. So this, we want to find that soft and relaxed quality. And again, this is why I was saying at the beginning of class, please set up your space like this, like I have it here, because the whole class is based on that. So it'll allow you to flow right with me. So it's worth your time to set it up like that. So again, we tip into the toes. And then we tip into the heels. So we're finding the full topography of the feet and realizing you can be relaxed and connect to the ground through the toes. The heels aren't even touching the ground. And eventually you can even get to where your heels are the only thing touching the ground and the toes are not. Now take that one step further, go into your toes and lift your heels up off the ground. So push down through the toes, come back down. Rock into your heels, use your chair for safety, and pull the toes off the ground. So the only thing touching is the heels. And then forward and lift. Down, rock back, lift. 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 Now find middle. Heels of your hands, rest them on the back of that sturdy chair. Walk your feet back, and then from here, fold at the quad, at the hip crease. Stick the butt way back. Stretch your legs, stretch the back, stretch the shoulders. The whole back sheath of tissue that tends to get so stiff on our bodies, especially if all we do is sit in chairs and then stand up in not great posture. Move and then come a little bit out of it, chest up, hips come a little forward just to let the pressure off. We're going to go in one more time. Hips way back. And then chest up, hips come forward, walk your feet all the way forward. Stand vertical. Turn and face forward. Step back just a little bit. Now your right foot, turn it about 5 degrees out. And then put all your weight in that right leg and put your left foot in front, and like this. So the heel is touching, the toes are pulled up, the leg is straight. Your back foot is slightly turned out. Place your left hand on your thigh, and you stick your butt back, right? This is for balance. And fold and slide your left hand down the ankle, down to the shoe, maybe even to the toes, and then come all the way up to standing. So as you sit back, your right leg will kind of bend. So it'll look a little bit like this. It's kind of an interesting stretch. This leg's a little bent, this one's straight, and we're sliding down, stretching, and then coming all the way up to standing. All the way up. Make sure you get all the way to vertical. And then get really good at hip hinging. Slide. And rise. 2 more. You can inhale here. Exhale. And over time, instead of having hand on chair, you can place hand on bent knee, the right hand that is, as the left hand travels down the leg and you come back up. So that's a little more of a balance challenge where you're not gripping the chair. Now, you've come all the way up. You still got that left foot in front. It's open. It's more fluid, right? The idea that it was stiff, but now there's a little more juice going through it. Shift your weight into that leg. And now fold. Now notice as I fold at this hip crease, this leg lifts up, right? So we fold and then come all the way back to standing vertical. Again, from the hip, fold. You might even hang that left arm down like you're trying to pick something up off the ground as you fold, and then come all the way back up to standing. So what this is doing, it's doing a couple different things, but it's helping us find where's our middle, right? Our middle is here. Usually we experience it sort of up here or up here. But if our middle is here, well, that's what makes this movement possible, is that the middle pivot of the multi-angled seesaw that is our body is in here. And the more we find that here, the more balance we feel, the more agility we feel. Now, on this last one, just go into that shape and hold it. And some of you will feel like you want to fly your wings someday. Chairs are there for safety, but you could fly those arms out. Right? We're cultivating our middle. All of this has to do with gait, balance, moving around in space. And then let's come all the way up to vertical. And we're going to switch sides. So step over to the other side. Now it should be your left leg. You turn out about 5 degrees. Put your right heel in front. This leg is straight. Stick your butt back. So you're hip hinging. Then slide that right hand down to the ankle, down to the foot, maybe the toes, and then all the way back up. Feel free to keep your left hand on the chair for safety, or both on your body. Hold and rise up. Hold. So it's kind of like the metaphor of a garden. If you don't clear the weeds out of the garden and till the soil, you can't plant anything new there, right? And the new thing we're trying to plant is this awareness of how to move the vehicle of the body better. But a lot of times we have these areas that are just stuck, frozen, clogged. There's bramble and weeds everywhere. And so these exercises that I'm offering on this class and in our Friday class, that's what they're doing. They're opening up, clearing the soil so that we can do something special. Now, stay standing. We shift into that right leg. The chair is still there for safety. Again, we just fold. So the upper body is leaning forward, the back leg is lifting up, but the middle is still in the middle. And then you stand all the way vertical, and the middle is still in the middle. So find that place that's the middle. When we move from the middle, all the parts move appropriately in relationship to each other, which is different than what may be happening for some of you, where you see what I'm doing and you go, oh, okay, so I got to do my head like this, and then my spine like this, and I got to throw my leg back, right? Those are all the separate parts, versus when you're feeling this alignment, you're relaxed, you think of the idea that there's a middle, then you just go, okay, from the middle. And at first it's an insecure feeling because we don't have the middle yet. That's why the chairs are here. That's why we're in a safe context. On this last one, go ahead and hold it. But again, that's the point of these practices, is that we clear out what's extra, what's just plain wrong, what's in the way, so that we can get more and more and more natural. Now just natural and smooth, come all the way up. And side step over to the other chair. No hand on the chair if you can help it. Release the arms, but the chair is there should you need it. Now we change the weight from that middle so that all the weight goes into your right leg. And then we change the weight so that all of it goes into the left leg. And then we change the weight so all of it goes into the right leg. Change the weight so all of it goes into the left leg. Notice my zhong jump. My vertical pillar is intact. It's staying more or less vertical, right? There's maybe a little bit of a change happening. You can see the body is doing something. There's a change in space, but from the perspective of this middle, it's very little left and right movement. It's more like a turning and a turning. And so that's this idea that in here, it's this multi-angled, multi-directional gimbal sort of middle that we use to control and all the beautiful movements this body can do. Now, the next level of this, change the weight to your right leg. Because your left foot is empty, you should be able to just go whoop, tippy toe, back down. And then you change into your left leg and go up to the tippy toe, down, change, lift, lower, change. And remember, we've been talking the last few weeks about how does the slow movement of Tai Chi become swift? Well, this is a great place to feel it, where at first we're going foot down, change the weight, then lift this foot, then put it down, all these separate events. Eventually it's as I'm going here, I'm lifting. As I'm changing weight here, I'm lifting. So then it's, so that's fast, even though I didn't rush. Boom. 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 Once you have the weight open, then speed becomes, right? Then you can actually move, chugga, 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 and get that ball rolling. But first you have to unthaw it. Now, next level, get to your tippy toe, hand on chair so that you can lift this foot and feel that chaos that causes in your system. Put the foot down. Change so that your weight goes down through the right leg. First, get to this tippy toe, lift, put the foot down, change. So we're doing it in separate pieces again. Tippy toe, lift, down, change, tippy toe, lift, down, change. Eventually, this one can start to have that. As my weight's going down, I'm going tippy toe lift. As the foot's going down, I'm letting my weight go down, and then I can go tippy toe lift. And then it can start to syncopate like pistons in an engine, even though I don't really understand engines, but I imagine that syncopation quality. Boom. Boom. But we learn that we need to rely on ground, ground, ground. So I'm lifting this foot each time, but I'm not losing my balance, right? And then finally, hand on chair, knee all the way up, as high as it could possibly go, right? And notice, are you leaning on the chair like crazy? You want to use it for psychological support. Then that leg all the way down. Change. All the way up, right? All the way up. Eventually, you really want to have it up and loose, not gripped. All the way down, change, all the way up, all the way down, change, change. And again, the same idea, those of you who've been practicing for a while now, and you feel comfortable with it, take every exercise and practice that speeding up, but I don't like using that word because then that usually denotes tension. But just trying to think like, it's like stacking the movements. So that as your weight's going down, this is coming up like two ends of a scale. And it's all determined on how well you're operating from your middle. And down, Now, take a step back from the chair. You can still reach it. It's in front of you, though. Pour the weight to your left leg, right foot out in front, heel touching. From the middle, down through the right leg. That just so happens to move you forward. Down through the back leg just so happens to move you backwards, but you don't have to lean forward or backward, right? I'll turn sideways so you can see that. So when I'm going forward, I'm not going forward, which gets me over my skis. I'm staying perfectly vertical. I'm just going down, and I move forward. Down, back, down. Get to the tippy toe. Down. Just relax. Everything up in your shoulders, loose as buttery as can be. Arms, we don't need to hold. Let them hang. They won't fall off. And then we go level 2 of this exercise. Lift, straight leg from the hip. Place the heel down. Shift. Then this back leg, little flamingo. Just bend the knee. Toe down to the floor. Shift from this hip. Lift. Lower. Shift. And again, those of you who've been doing it a while, you can start to stack them together a little bit, where it's as the weight shift is going down, I'm picking that foot up. As the weight shift is going down. But just add that at your own discretion. For those of you just getting on board with these practices, have it broken into those pieces of change the weight, then lift, then lower, change the weight, lift, lower. It's just like learning an alphabet before you can form a word, before you can write a sentence, before you can write poetry, right? So that's kind of what we have to do with everything we learn. It's just, what are the building blocks? Now, level 3, up, down, change. Back leg, forward and up, like you're going to step up on a big stair. And then reverse, reach back, find the floor. Change. Up, down, change. Forward and up, back, change. Up, down, change, up, back, change, up, down, change. And down. Switch sides, side step. Closer to this chair. Put your weight in your right leg, left foot out in front, level 1. Tippy toe, tip of heel. Your left leg full, right leg empty. Your right leg full, left leg. And again, primary direction is down to the earth. We get that relationship right, it corrects all the imbalances up above. Down. Down. Level 2, use the chair for safety. Lift, lower, shift. Once you get to the tippy toe, flamingo, down, shift. From the hip. From the knee. Again, you can stack them a little closer so that you work on, as you're shifting down to the earth, you're bending that knee. Set the foot up as you're changing the weight pretty soon after you lift the leg. So it starts to happen kind of like qua in one fluid. Which is essentially running. That's what running is that we get good at making these exchanges happen smoothly and in a short order of time, and then the body can run again and still be totally relaxed. Now let's go level 3, all the way, down, down to the earth. Now the back leg goes forward and up, reaches back behind without any weight. Change. Up, down, change. Forward and up, reach back, change. Up, down, change. Forward and up. Couple more. Maybe those of you, again, who've been doing it a while, you feel this ability to go, huh, and huh, huh, huh. Switch sides again. Chair on this side. Like I said, if you set up like I have you set up, the class flows really well. If you don't, then you end up trying to figure out how to make shift with what I'm doing. So keep that in mind. Now, level 1, we shift, step, shift. Shift back, wait till it's empty, step back while it is still empty, shift. Shift, step, shift. Shift, step, shift. If you can do this correctly, you can go anywhere, right? This is all it takes to be able to navigate and explore space, flat space. But it's the same principles involved in uphill, downhill, stairs, and everything. Can you go one full, one empty, other full, other empty, use the empty foot to step, and then change again to full and empty? Can you, from your middle pivot, make that change? Now let's take it to level 2. Lift, lower, shift, step over something. Shift, flamingo. Shift back, step over something. This one's a little trickier. Up, tuck, reach. Shift, down, lift up. Down to the earth, step over something. Down to the earth. Down to the earth. Up, tuck, reach, down to the earth. Again, every exercise that we're doing, those of you that are starting to feel more adept at getting down to the earth, you can stack them together so that it's kind of like a swift movement. But as soon as you try to add that swiftness, if you start to feel yourself go way out of balance, you try to go too far, back it off some. Because you can see there's an ability to down, down. If I get that down right, then this is free to come up, right? And then let's go level 3, all the way up, down, shift. And then this is just exaggeration for range of motion. Heel to butt, knee up, foot out, lower it, shift. And then again, knee forward and up, back, we shift. And it's just the full range. Because if you can stay balanced while exploring the full range, then simple things like walking around become second nature, become easy. So we're blazing these trails, opening these pathways for the brain, for the joints, for the tissue. And switch sides. Now it should be your left foot in front, right foot is behind. We go level 1, shift, step, shift. Shift back, step back, shift back. One of the hardest parts of this one is not trying to lean forward or back with our movement, but not doing anything. It's very difficult to just not do anything extra, to just go boom, boom like that. And just let yourself move forward, right? You can see I'm moving a good 1.5 feet forward and backward in space, but I don't have to do that in some overt way. I just have to connect down to the ground, down to the ground, down to the ground, and relax. And it all goes just fine. Just fine. And level 2. Lift, lower, shift. We step over something. Shift. Flamingo, down, shift. Now the leg come up in front, bend, reach back, and shift. Up, down, shift. Step over something, shift. Bend the knee, down, shift. Up, tuck, reach, shift. Lift, lower, shift. All right, so we're just vertical, shoulders are relaxed, connecting to the ground. Level 3. Up, down, shift, heel, knee, foot, down, shift. Dongjang is about this correct relationship of all the parts. Chunwan is softening everything, not grabbing the body, but releasing the body, which then opens up Qinglin, which is this lightness, this looseness, this liquid power. Again, if you had set up your space like I told you to, then this next part should just be very easy. You move over to the left side of your space, turn, and face downrange. So now you've got a runway, just like an airplane has a runway. You've got this runway in front of you and your chair's on your side for safety. Now, empty your left foot, put it in front, and then shift. Now your right foot should be empty, put it in front, shift. Left foot in front, shift. 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 And then shift back. Step the right foot back. Shift back. Backwards always a little more dangerous. Right? But as long as you get an empty foot, keep it empty when you step it. That's the danger spot. Is as you shift back and you have an empty foot, you got to remember, step it and find the floor with your toe before then committing body weight to that leg. So now the other foot's empty, step it with no weight, then you shift. Let's do that again. And again, those of you feeling a little more adept, you can just kind of cruise, right? Just cruise along using those ideas. But if you're just learning it, stay with this shift, wait for it to be empty, step it while it's empty, shift. We're training the middle of the seesaw. You're training the internal middle using the outer parts. And that's where balance, agility, stability, safety, all of that comes from our middle. Starting to find like, oh, I have a middle. And then we go up and over, shift. So it's level 2. You step up and over something, shift. Step up and over something, shift. If you have one full, then the other is free. Going backwards again, just safe. Wait, step, you shift. You step the empty foot, you shift. step, and shift. And turn and face forward. You're at the left side of your space. Put the weight through your left leg. Right foot steps sideways out, sideways in. We're going to repeat that. So your left leg is, I'm sorry, your right leg. I might have said that wrong. Your right leg, empty, steps out and in. So now we're not stepping forward, we're stepping sideways, in, out. The middle is connected to the earth through this leg only. That's why this leg is free. So not having that state is called being double weighted, meaning you're stuck. And so then we walk around like this, and we feel like we could fall at any moment. But these practices loosen up, open up these spaces, discern between full and empty, loosen up the moving parts, the gimbal, the pivot. Now step out, and we shift, full, empty, shift back, full, empty. Both feet stay in contact with the ground completely, but I'm changing the status, right? If there's a little status bar above each leg, now it's changed to full, this is changed to empty. And then as I go over here, this one has to change its status to full, this one is empty. Middle, vertical, space, inside space through which I'm moving. Now stay in your right leg, left leg in, out. Because it's empty, it's got chingling, it's nimble. It can move. Because I'm not using it to support my body weight, it's as free as my arm would be. This leg is as free as an arm. Or it should be, could be. And then finally bring that left leg in. Now, from this middle pivot, change so that this is your full leg, this is your empty. Change again. This one is empty. So really breaking that frozen state of your middle pivot, which includes your lower back, your belly, your groin, your hips. This whole region has to get juice, has to be movable. Otherwise, we got no option but to sort of stumble around, right? Now, stay in your left leg, right foot is empty, side step, change. This, once it's full, the left foot can step in. Then we change so that this is full, we step out. Change. This is full, this one empty, step in. Change, step out. Change, step in. So I got a little cappuccino cup on my head, full to the brim, and it's not spilling, and yet I'm moving across the room, changing leg to leg. That's not going to happen if I'm going like this. I'm sloshing it all over the place, right? But empty step, change which one is full and empty, step the empty, change which is full and empty, step the empty, change. Freedom of movement, looseness throughout the body, relax. Middle pivot is like the cockpit of the vehicle. Here, so our mind here. And just like we practiced on our Friday class, the bear washes paws. So now what did we do? It looks all more complicated, right? But really, all I'm doing is changing weight, turning from the middle pivot, and letting the hand sweep over here. Step. So now I'm putting the weight in that right leg, turning, sweeping. Now this leg is empty. Bring it in. Now I'm putting the weight in this leg, turning, brushing. Russian sweep. Step out. So that's why coming to the Friday class is useful because we're working on some of this other choreography that we then add to our lower body movement. Okay. So those of you that want to keep that hand movement going, please do. I'm going to just do the regular version so that folks who aren't as comfortable with that, you just focus on what I'm doing now, which is just side step, lateral shift, step in, change the weight to your right leg, step out the empty leg, shift, step in, shift. So there's 4 events. The step is separate from the shift. The step separate from the shift. This is the beginning level of this, right? Eventually it kind of flows a little bit more, but you have to be able to step without shifting, shift without stepping, step without shifting, shift without stepping. Back to center. Bring your hands together. Rub your palms. Rub the back of one hand. Rub the palms. Rub the back of the other hand. Rub your palms. Now, sink into the legs just a little bit to open up the quad and take your hands on those 2 grooves and rub up and down. So this is an area that gets congested, compressed. People get little, what they call those little hernias in this area, right? Because they're fragile muscles, but they're also powerful muscles. These are muscles we need to use, but the space needs to be open. So we're opening, opening, opening. And then the hip flexors, the front of the thigh, top of the thigh, the tendons on the hips. Then we come around to the tail, up onto the lower back. And then like we did our squat earlier, stick your butt back, sink, sweep the hands down, around, and up. Do that again. Down, round, and up. One more. And then finally, up the outer to the shoulder. Turn that palm up and sweep. So the outer or yang channels go in that direction. The inner or yin channels go in that direction. So it's like a chi reset that we're doing, just resetting the flow of the body. Other side, up the outer, turn, down, off, up the outer, turn, sweep. And put the weight just a little bit in your toes. Lift and lower your heels just a little bit and create this bounce through the body. This bounce, right? Not sure if you can see that. Right? So again, what this one is really important at showing, notice how much all my body parts are moving just a little bit. I could never move all of those myself by grabbing my body and trying to move them. The only way to do it is to relax. Let the weight go just a little into the toes and then just go up, down, up, down, up, down. And create that loose quality, that shaking out of degree and tension. Just get that loose quality. And then just stand for a moment. Wings. Turn palms up. Fold over top and settle all the way. Hands right in front of this middle place. And then we seal 1, 2. And then we close the practice. Again, notice where my hands are. On the belly button. So Alexander, it looks like you're doing something like that. Just right in your middle. Just right there. And then we close. Thank you, everybody. Well done. If there are questions, please unmute yourself. So today we did not much new stuff, but the point today was showing that the same exercise then added onto that the swift change, right? So those of you that have been doing it a little while, hopefully you can feel that opportunity to take the same exercise and add this idea of changing a little more syncopated together to create speed, even though you're not rushing, you're not trying harder. In fact, you're softer. You're just being softer. So there's that. All right. Any questions?